Hello students, welcome to your English literature class. We'll be doing chapter 7, a visit to Cambridge. Now this is a very special topic in which we're going to talk about two great personalities. First, we're going to talk about Firdaus Kanga, the main author of the story, and then we'll talk about Stephen Hawkins. Now both of them were specially abled. Firstly, Firdaus was a journalist and had traveled all over the world. He was specially abled, but he never let that become his disability in any way. In fact, he was an inspiration to many people around him. Second, who was Stephen Hawking? He was one of the greatest scientists of our time. Now, once he suffered a special form of paralysis that confined him to the wheelchair. His mind was working but not his body. He was on a very special chair, computerized chair, where he used to punch buttons and his voice used to come out in a machine-like voice. So in a way, the computer used to speak for him. Now in this chapter, children, the main, you can say, highlights is that students shouldn't, or the point to be learnt over here is that physical disability should not be considered a hindrance in someone's path towards achieving greater heights in life. One should learn how to conquer the disability of mind rather than focusing on the physical disability. That's a very, you can say, a message, important message of this topic. Now let's go through the summary of this topic. A Visit to Cambridge is a travelogue written by Firdaus Kanga, who was a Mumbai-based journalist who was living in England. Now, in his stay in England, the writer was just confined to his work at Cambridge University. For him, Cambridge meant England. Now, once during the walking tour to Cambridge University, he heard about Stephen Hawking, who was a genius astrophysicist, but he had a disability. Mr. Hawking had succeeded Sir Isaac Newton's chair in the physics department at Cambridge University. On hearing this, Firdaus formed a strong liking for him and he had an urge to meet him. So he called at Hawking's house and told the latter's assistant that he had come all the way from India and was confined to a wheelchair. He expressed his desire to meet him and also mentioned that he wanted to write a book based on his visit to England. Now he just wanted 15 minutes time from the assistant, but the assistant gave him an appointment for half an hour. Now when the author met Mr. Hawking, he was surprised that such a brilliant scientist, astrophysicist, was completely paralyzed and confined to a wheelchair. He quickly composed himself and started asking a few questions. At first, he asked Mr. Hawking how he dealt with things so courageously. To this, genius replied that he had no other option than being brave and to accept his current situation. However, he found it funny when people patronized him. Patronize means when people used to show their pity for him. Firdaus then inquired if Mr. Hawking ever got annoyed if they disturb him. To this, Mr. Hawking replied in a very affirmative tone with a smile. As the author was being interviewed, Firdaus realized that Mr. Hawking appeared to be a man with a beautiful heart and soul to him. Besides that, the author also questioned Mr. Hawking if he was unable to see the humility and kindness in the world due to his disability. Hawkins agreed to this with Firdaus. Finally, the interview came to an end with the message for the readers. Mr. Hawkins said that disabled people should focus on good in themselves rather than overthinking about their disability. They should not become overzealous, instead concentrate on things they are good at. Saying so, Mr. Hawking went into his garden. Thus the author felt that his journey to England was not just inspiring but successful too. So the story with a very strong message comes to an end over here. Now students, you can do the reading of the chapter yourselves. Thank you. Have a nice day.